My name is Jay, and I'm one of the owners of the Wild Heart Yoga Tribe. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my story with you. So I always had this vision when I started practicing yoga, and then when I started teaching yoga, of creating my own space, and a space that was for everyone. Because in California, a lot of the studios I was at, it was very specialized yoga, where it was a focus of just vinyasa flow, really active, or on the other spectrum, really mellow. I thought, why not have it all, where everybody, even though we're all different, can come together and connect. So that original idea was Green Heart Yoga. I always wanted to start a yoga studio in a garden, and in California we had the perfect weather for that. So I moved over to Australia and I started teaching in Cairns, and I was just traveling around, and I ended up in Brisbane, and I started teaching at heaps of different studios over there, and that was when I really started to figure out what it would take for me to have my own studio. So when we found out that we were going to have my daughter Savannah, that's when I kind of knew it was time to push for my vision. And there's been a couple times in my life, I call it the call, where I just know that there's an opportunity for me if I trust it. So we packed up everything we owned and we moved over to Port Douglas, because originally I thought, oh, we'll start a park studio, but quickly the weather told us not to do that. It was a little too hot, a little too rainy. So we spent about 6 months in Port Douglas trying to figure something out, and the universe was just telling us, nah, it's not the right place. So I just applied to teach at a couple yoga studios in Cairns, and lucky enough, I got in contact with Hydrea Yoga, and they were closing down in a week. So I really had to get my resources in order if I wanted to take over this studio. So when we started Wild Heart, it was really this vision that we wanted to give back more. I felt like that we could talk the talk, but we wanted to walk the walk. And I saw so many different studios that weren't eco-conscious, weren't eco-friendly, that weren't spreading the mindfulness that yoga teaches on the mat. But our vision for the tribe has always been, how can we take it off the mat? And that's really where the name started to come from. As Wild Heart Yoga Tribe, we wanted to embrace our wild hearts and start to support our wild life. Really, that was the point where the tribe started to grow, because a tribe really fits the energy we're trying to work with, where everybody comes together and we create this community that gives back, and that is a little bit more conscious of, buying sustainable things, reusing things, supporting conservation. So that's where the Wild Heart Yoga Tribe really got its roots. And so, it was really slow, tough going in the beginning, trying to figure out a fair price and scheduling and, preparing for our daughter's birth at the same time. But learning curves, every month we had to really reassess everything at the tribe and, evolve ourselves so that we could keep the tribe, growing into our vision. Still amazing that some of our original students are still such a big part of the tribe. And then another thing I'm thankful for is Edge Hill. It's such the perfect location for a studio. It's got such a beautiful community, and just being next to those gardens, whenever I feel stressed, I go over to the Edge Hill Gardens and just reconnect to nature. And that's a big part about the tribe is, reconnecting to our world and our wild hearts. So I love being so close to the gardens. And then, big gratitude that I'm in this opportunity to shape the tribe, to put on events like acro yoga, sound healings, and all the other special people we get to work with and draw into this space. The first step was starting a studio. And so I've got a vision of eventually opening up our own eco sanctuary. And so now we're heading into phase 2, where we're more focusing on our retreats and not just doing yoga retreats, but doing yoga retreats that supports conservation. So we're leading our first international retreat over to Sumatra and staying in Eco Lodge that directly supports conservation of wild orangutans. So eventually I'd love to open up our own eco retreat, and then if we keep growing the way we are, eventually I'd love to just buy land specifically for wildlife so that we can save little pockets of this planet for everyone and everything to enjoy.